actually ban away the Storm Spirit, and now Escape choosing to go for a different initiator, a little bit off the wall here. The Axe last pick. What are your thoughts?
I thought for some reason they were going to take something like Sand King if you saw me type it to them, just because I felt like they needed a melee initiator that dealt well with the TA in the mid lane, and that was one of those heroes. As you see the flags of Jordan behind us.
Oh yeah. And this is going to be tight one. I'm feeling it. This one, like, I'm looking at it, it's going to be a lot of fighting action. Like, Escape very clearly want to push the pace of this game, right? When you've got an Axe mid, you've got a Lifestealer as your safe lane carry. This is going to be Escape Gaming trying to go, go, go.
Yeah, I feel like Escape, sometimes they'll draft for the late game. Like, they'll give Quake for the best scaling hero possible.
Yep. And
that'll lead to sort of a weak mid lane, or weak mid game, but the Axe, what I really like about Escape's lineup is they're not cooldown reliant at all. That's the one downside of having a silencer on your team, but you have so many different ways to start a fight with these 4 melee heroes. Downside of their lineup, though, is that they're going to have a tough time going for the high ground without getting a lot of the objectives, without Fnatic taking a fight or them being able to take that Roche or contest for it at least, whereas Fnatic have a much cleaner high ground. They've got the presence of a Tide who's naturally going to build something defensive like the mech, but they also have to play heavily around their cooldowns, unlike Escape.
Do you think that was a weakness of Escape Gaming in the group stage? Do you think they tried to put too much on Koifa to carry mid to late game and weren't playing aggressive enough, and maybe this is why they're going to switch it up in this best of one?
Yeah, because I think the standard formula, when you have a player like Koifa, is you give him one of the best late game scaling carries that you possibly can, you put him in the mid lane, you allow him to farm, you secure him as good of a game as possible, and if it gets past 40 minutes, he can auto-win you a game just because of his individual skill. But in a tournament like this, I think what really matters is, can you get the jumps off? Can you get the initiation off? You're going to put Fnatic in a position where they're going to panic. And Koifa's hero, it's not like he doesn't scale poorly. Against the Axe and the TA, he's almost always going to be decent.
All right, well, we're going to start things off with Bounding Runes being given up. Both sides, we have the mid-Axe facing up against the Templar Assassin. We already heard some of our panel talk about how that one's going to be a bit rough for mid-1, but he's already shown himself more than capable to deal with rough circumstances. We have the aggro dual lane being run here. Kezu on the Slardar, as well as Yapzor backing him up on the Night Stalker. This is also going to be a point of contention, right? Fnatic do not have the strongest lane to be able to deal with aggression.
The downside for them right now is this Bounty Hunter is going to have to do quite a lot, just because in the laning phase, I feel like you said Escape can get a ton out of this top lane. It's just going to get pushed back.
It's both the strength and the weakness of the Shadow Shaman, right? It's the fact that it's so good versus solo offlaner, but as you can see right now, both Yapzor and Kezu are easily able to push back against this dual lane because the Shadow Shaman can't deal with 2 heroes, and Mushi already having to burn through a healing salve. So we definitely have to keep our eye on that top lane, see how the action develops. Nice pickup here, the counter ward.
He does find it, but
Cost them both. Ultimately, they'll open up that pole, right? And that's got to be a necessity, because I'm not sure if the Bounty Hunter being in this top lane can actually swing the favor back into Fnatic's hands.
Bottom Ohio's going to get slowed down a lot.
Yeah, he takes a large amount of damage.
He's trying to contest this lane just because it is a lifesteal and a silencer. Trying to do what he can, but Nidoran won't step into his zone, man.
He's got that last word, heavy amount of damage from that level 1 nuke. Bouncer known to be one of the better support harassers in the game, whether it's because of the fact he's got an orb or the heavy nuke that comes out from the last one. Mid lane, nice call. Mid one, going to take a large amount of damage. He got a little lucky on the spins. He might have been able to finish off mid one, but as it is, he'll just push the pressure onto mid one, and now mid one actually has to try and get the rest of this ZS to start funneling himself a bottle. Hopefully he'll be able to do so underneath this tier 1 tower.
Dude, a little lucky he needed like 4 more spins.
He'll be able to get it without a problem, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to be okay in this lane. Things will start to even out for him as Koifa tries to play as aggressively as possible, which is what he needs to do, but top lane, Ardar still getting okay amount of farm. Night Stalker not really able to zone out too hard. I think 343 has made the right idea here, just because him going mid means absolutely nothing. Yeah. Koifa doesn't really care, and the most telling part about that is they didn't even pull Koifa Sentry Ward. Like, we don't care about this lane so much that we're not even going to bother prepping for the Bounty Hunter.
Would it be worth 343 to rotate all the way down to the bottom lane to help out the Tide Hunter and try and make it a 2-1-2 scenario?
No, because even with the Tide Hunter down there, without a level of Gush, I don't think they have the best presence, and he's probably not going to level it just because I think the better play might be soak up XP, which he's doing a very good job of right now. He's already level 4. Downside of having Lifestealer in this lane cap is just not a lot of kill potential.
KheZu feeling a lot of pressure right now.
Got the shackle.
Holding on to the shackles. Yapzor will be able to instantly take that one off of the void, but it's too late. Mushi will claim the first blood with a lance.
Very well done by Fnatic as they realize this safe lane has to be secured as much as possible. They feel like they have the best late gamer in the game in this Phantom Lancer. Carrying a safe lane is going to be so crucial for Fnatic.
I feel like KheZu's performance on the off lane has been a bit wanting for Escape going into the group stage, and it seems like Escape are identifying that, trying to give him the best laning phase possible by doing this dual lane setup, but it's turning against them now as the bounty hunter is making the difference for Fnatic.
Yeah, the big thing right now is Ohio's just kind of punking them at bottom. Like, he doesn't care that this dual lane is harassing him. Silencer's only level 2. Oftentimes you'll see Synderen pick a hero for himself that can harass heavily or trade hits with the offlaner. Then he simply goes back to the pulling game. But in a game like this, the Tidehunter just simply doesn't go down. And downside again of Lifestealer is you can only go through his mana pool once before he's no longer a threat. So you have to kind of pick their spots carefully here. And I think it's going to come from Yapzor making rotations, but because this top lane has gone so poorly, he's only level 2 right now.
We are definitely not going to be feeling too much of a presence on Yapzor unless he gets a bit lucky with that 6-minute rune. Maybe he can wrap around on mids. Koifa's already put a lot of damage onto mid 1 before, but I say that we saw mid 1 earlier actually pick up that Invis rune, so he's even got an escape. Not too many options for a 4 position of Escape Gaming. Otherwise, everything looks pretty good for Fnatic. As you mentioned, Ohio is now level 5 in the off lane, and it's getting harder and harder for Synderen to push him back.
Yeah, they really need this Slardar to have an okay laning phase. That's why they decided to go for this dual lane, because Yapzor's not getting anything. They haven't been able to harass this bottom lane. Ohio's now going to go for the Ancient stacks, which is further going to progress his Templar Assassin's farm. And more importantly, they need this second Blink initiation from KheZu to follow up. They don't have that much damage otherwise.
Now, we have a Lifestealer in the safe lane for Escape Gaming. When do we see Era start rotating out? Because we've seen Lifestealers that sometimes sit in their lane and sit in jungle and wait until they have the full-out armlet. Others, once they pick up level 6, they immediately jump inside a gank hero and try and put some pressure on the enemy team. What are your thoughts on the Lifestealer and how should he progress in this game?
Problem is, he doesn't have that natural vehicle that has farm. Normally you'd see him jump into something like the Slardar, they'd be able to execute a gank. They simply just can't do that because KheZu needs to farm. If one gank goes disastrously, that's kind of the game for him. Like, this is a level 3 Slardar who just picked up Iron Talon, doesn't have boots, is level 3. I mean, I can't even believe I'm reading off the stats because we're rapidly approaching 6 minutes.
So in other words, we're going to be seeing a bit more of a slower paced game up until we get those Blink daggers out from Escape on both the Axe as well as the Slardar.
Yeah, maybe you can start rotating the Slardar once he hits 6, but as he is right now, he's not going to lend a lot of pressure. And now they're just going to rotate out of this top lane, which maybe they should have done a little bit earlier because Mushi's getting much CS as he wants anyways, even with these 2 heroes contesting him.
Dangerous KheZu will not put himself low enough critical range where 343 could potentially pick him off as a bounty hunter. Timing too, as 343 had just rotated over and spotted him out. Mid lane, 32-5 on the Axe, 38-9 mid 1, still doing quite well in this 1v1 match.
Radiant's top tower
maybe
is under attack.
Fnatic want to just take this top tower, start getting as aggressive as possible, just because this bottom tower, I think it's going to be hard. It's really difficult to gank a Lifestealer. All he has to do is rage TP out. Maybe this top tower is a little bit safer. They are going to TP 343 back, who should just soak XP bottom, and I think they make the full switch. So you go around behind the tower with the Tidehunter, you secure the tower, you allow your bounty hunter to soak level 6 in either mid or bottom, preferably bottom, which now he's going to learn that he should do. And he doesn't even need to carry a TP because it's not necessary for him to do anything pre-track. And mid 1, his game is perfectly fine because of the stacks. At top,
We are going to see that wraparound come to fruition. Yapzor looks like he's going to be caught out here. KheZu can't really get there fast enough to get a good crush. In fact, he's going to be ravaged as well. They hit off the one for Yapzor. He buys himself a little bit huge. Is he actually going to be able to escape? He's trapped inside the trees up against the Phantom Lancer illusion. Now Koifa's come in, managed to get a pretty decent
he wants the dunk.
Roaching, he gets the dunk. Now he gets another crush. DJ, he's also going to be comboed up on. Koifa ready to go with another Culling Blade. That's number 2. And he's looking for 3. Ohio, he knows he's trapped like a rat like a watermelon rat. Triple kill. Koifa and the boys turning it around. Escape Gaming. It was looking pretty nasty for them in the laning phase, but it all goes right with the fight up in the top lane.
They were so quick on the TPs, able to react instantly as Koifa picks up so much gold, and although their plays, you know, we were able to call it or escape as they managed to respond perfectly. But now they're going to grab some levels on their heroes. And Fnatic, they had a really good start to this game, but all of a sudden Arrow, who's been uncontested, he's going to take the top of the net worth charts.
Yeah, now Arrow's game could actually speed up quite a bit, right? Because we now have the first vehicle coming online pretty quickly. That Blink Dagger is coming in, but Fnatic are now going to rotate their Phantom Lancer down to the bottom lane. Try and put some pressure on him. What is this about? Why don't they just return back to their safe lane and continue to farm away with the PL?
I think the difficulty in this is you just want to get DJ some levels. At 9 minutes in, he needs a little bit more farm. As up at top, we're going to watch this as they pop the Ravage. They just don't have enough follow-up damage.
Yeah, it's beautiful set up there from Escape Gaming, rotating Koifa in like that and being able to interrupt what was, I mean, as you said, we read it and Escape Gaming read it too. They read the rotation of Fnatic and managed to counter it. The Axe just proves to be too strong.
It was still, it was like an odd rotation because normally you'd see the Tide front line at bottom tower and the rest of the team comes and meets them there. But I think because it's a Lifestealer, you're a little bit more deterred from doing that because they have no easy way to initiate on him unless you just blow Ravage out of the blue.
Yeah, Lifestealer's just like a little bit too strong in the laning phase, right? So you don't want to try and contest that.
Yeah, I think you kind of leave him alone and you make that play for top, but the big thing there is they wanted to be able to take that tower cap so they can just start putting pressure into the Radiant jungle. They're unable to do so now, and Mushi's kind of in a weird position where he's got to continue to rotate because he has to let this PA roster just continue to farm as much as he wants.
Yeah, another downside of the roster, right, is that it is a support that is kind of greedy. It requires a lot of levels to be pretty impactful in the mid game. Otherwise, it just turns into tissue and gets ripped apart. Still, though, Fnatic are looking good on mid one. We haven't really talked too much about him, but he's top of the net worth right now, sitting at 4K alongside both the Phantom Lancer and the Axe and Lifestealer.
Pretty good mid-tower push by Fnatic. They don't really have to expend too much to get it, not even the Shadow Shaman wards. They just kind of naturally pick it up, and now I think DJ, because this spell has such a long cooldown, I think you just go for the Roshan and immediately expend it. I'm not sure if Escape can contest it unless this Axe starts making his way down, but whenever you have a high cooldown ability like this, whether it's the Lion Finger of Death or the Shadow Shaman Mass Serpent wards, you just want to place them as fast as you possibly can. This is a very good Roshan attempt by them, especially if it goes unnoticed. Yeah, Escape Gaming seems to have no idea whatsoever. Ohio's already positioning himself in that mid lane pretty aggressively, so he's showing that hero as simultaneously. He's also within walking distance of that Roshan pit should Escape find out what's happening and try and contest, but that's not going to be the case here. Roshan will fall shortly, and this will be a big boost for Fnatic. Be able to come back in this lane phase. Roshan, Aegis in hand, and they still have an Ancient Sack to work through as well. Yeah, this is going to be huge for the TA, who they're clearly prioritizing in farm right now. You see the Bounty Hunter hit 6. I think this is a good time for them to smoke up, get ready, play around the Ravage. We talked about how they need to control this Radiant jungle when you're playing Dire at any point in the game. Now that you have the Aegis, it's very unlikely that Escape take this fight. So naturally, Escape, they do the opposite, right? Yeah. They know invasion's coming into the Radiant jungle, they get out of there. They spend their time in the top lane, and they're going to trade tier 1 for tier 1. This is a good move by Escape right now. They're just dodging. They realize, waste that Aegis timer. They're not going to win that fight. Gotta get the Ravage and the Templar Assassin Aegis. Now, that's not to say they won't try and fight Fnatic at any point. Right? Even though it's in Aegis, you can still contest with this pretty early game fast tempo lineup. It just requires a sneakier form of initiation, perhaps. And the big thing right now is that Kezu just has to continue to farm right now. He's trying to get halfway to Blink. 1,000 golds, he's got the Tranquil Boots. Unfortunately, he has the sustain, but he doesn't quite have the big gold boost to have be really impactful around that 15-minute marker. So his timing will be a bit slower, but fortunately he's got some allies who will be able to make up for him. This is going to be huge. Fnatic 3-man smoke up at top. They know that Escape are in their jungle. If they can't grab anybody out of this, though, this might just waste another minute or two of their Aegis. Grab just Cinderin. May not even be worth it, but it would still be a track kill. Obviously, they want so much more. Cinderin picks up the Tranquil Boots and backs out pretty much at the right time here, but Kezu may still be picked off. He cannot afford to die. Oh, they're pinging like crazy. They know they were smoked up.
Out of
What's
ward
going
being
down?
laid out, but a very smart observer ward by Escape Gaming. Knowing that's pretty common warding area, they lay their observer ward right outside.
The first fight for Escape is going to be huge because this Slardar just doesn't have enough farm. Their Axe as well is not the best late game scaler like we talked about. He's okay against this lineup, but with the way that Fnatic are geared up to fight, you see this Phantom Lancer, he doesn't go for that MVP Phoenix style travel into just farming, into getting that disposal blade. He's going to pick it up early. He wants to participate in these early fights with his team.
Escape Gaming is such a momentum-based lineup, right? Like, they've got this lineup that needs to be able to win that first fight, so if you just build up stats and try and contest that first fight, if you could stop it, nip it in the bud, Escape Gaming may never be able to really get a good hold on this game.
Yeah, you notice that they're going to go for the 4-man smoke here. They're going to do it absent of their Slardar, who they realize just has to continue to farm in this game. And this is going to be one of their better opportunities, especially if they can open up on DJ. But it's the Yapzor smoke.
Yapzor, he gets a little bit too close to the tower, but they will be able to get the jump call onto Ohio. He still has the Ravage ready to go. They try and get the Cooling Blade, not quite good enough, but Ohio will die nonetheless. He doesn't pop the Ravage, thinking it's not going to be a good time. Synderen in behind will be popped by mid-one. He's got the Desolator, 3-4-3 on the side, is going to be called up, and that'll be a 2-for-1.
It's going to be difficult for them to continue to go as Phantom Lancer's pinging, telling DJ, be careful. They still have the blink available on that Axe. He's got enough HP to make a counter initiation, but clean pick-off so far from Escape.
Good enough. Kind of smoke gank that you wanted to see. They traded away Synderen, but hard fight position, that's okay. And they also bought KheZu just a little bit more space. Couple more minutes, he will have that blink dagger, and then we'll have our double initiators, and Escape can really push the pace of this game. But it is 14 minutes in, and Fnatic are looking quite good for the time being in net worth and experience. All they have to do is play this passively and not let Escape get the right initiation.
Yeah, I think the downside for Fnatic right now is that Ohio just doesn't have that mech available to him. Quite underfarmed as well as KheZu.
Scan goes down, they know 3-4-3 is here.
This would be a big kill for them.
Beautiful time for that one. Putting 3-4-3 out of his misery. Ohio is still up there. He has some of his allies coming in. Mid-one is still going to run over. DJ trailing a little bit farther behind. You may not realize, though, this is a full 4-man of Escape.
Top. Fnatic, they really want to get into this fight. Mid-one is so farmed right now. He's got that Desolator on top of the DD rune bottled, and they're going to make their way forward.
Got the Ravage. They think this is a good fight, but over the crush comes in with the amplified damage. They're going to try and pop Ohio during that rage timer. It's coming close. Ohio, he's got the Ravage ready to go, and now Era, oh, he jumps inside, gets the advantage, dodge the Ravage, but now he's stuck up against DJ with a shackle. He turns around, tries to get some damage onto Mushi, but it's no good. Escape, they'll lose 2 of their cores, and that's exactly the kind of fight Fnatic were looking for off of the Ravage.
Very surprised that Escape decided to take that fight, considering they knew the TA still has that Aegis available, that DD rune bottled, and that made all the difference in this fight. As even with the Ravage whipping, didn't really seem to matter too much at mid-one. Now he's almost going to complete the blink dagger. This is kind of start that Escape definitely didn't want it.
Blink dagger on him, and the mech rapidly approaching for Ohio. Big ticket items for Fnatic that can change the sway of this game. And Escape, they've got a very limited time because the Radiants, Fnatic, are a dire side Templar Assassin with the Desolator. Round 2 of Roshan is coming up quick, and it seems unlikely that it's going to go into the hands of Escape unless they're actively winning fights in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
As up at top, mid-one's just going to set a trap. I think that Yapzor runs into the double melt. He gets the first hit off. He should be able to just blink chase him down. And instead, decides it's not worth his time. Is now he's going to go to the right.
If he can get a better angle for it.
Hoping that Yapzor just runs through the safer area. Yapzor instead. He's going to go the long way, or is he?
No, Yapzor.
Dire's bottom tower
And he
is under
goes
attack.
towards the secret shop. Gonna pick up that point boost.
Oh no, he's going to get hit.
Right past mid-one. The damage gonna be good enough. 3-shot, 4, and that's all it takes. Mid-one with the Desolator
Dire's
takes him
bottom
out,
tower
and the
has
deny
been
at the
denied.
bottom lane tower. DJ picks that one up against Era.
So well done by mid-one, reading that movement from Yapzor. Yapzor, for a second, it looked like he was going to go all the way around, but basically no way for him to predict that, as he was just trying to push into mid lane, or the top lane, and now Escape gathered her up this Roche pit, but
They're a little bit too late for it. They have the Infest up and the Blink Dagger for KheZu, but the Ancient Stack has already been taken. That's even for the
Cinder is
so dead. Tries to get out of ward, locked out the Ancients, but it cost him his life, and that one's going to be taken away pretty quick.
Yeah, the worst part of that is they know where the wards are. That's a fresh one. And if you're losing in a game like this, you can't afford to get dewarded this early in.
Things just seem to go from bad to worse for Escape Gaming. We said they had to be a lineup that would push the tempo of the game, but they haven't really gotten their footing whatsoever. We've seen the Blink Daggers. Both of them are up now. We even have a 4-staff for Koifa outside of that top lane engagement where they managed to counter the Tidehunter's rotation behind the tier 1 and that triple kill for Koifa. None of these fights have gone good for Escape.
It's just hard for them to take a fight when they know this Templar Assassin is this farm. And more importantly, now that the Tide has the mech and the Ravage level 2 available, I think this is going to be a nearly impossible fight for Escape.
Tier 2 seems like it's just going to be given up. Escape will try and push out the top lane as best they can, but Fnatic are just growing that lead. You can just see the combo mid. Now the initiation comes down on Mushi. They will be able to find a pickoff, it looks like, as Mushi, unable to get off any spells, does manage to get off the Doppelganger on the side and will be able to get away with now the mech. Stinderin, TP's out, barely escaping out of that Shuriken.
They did have to forward with Global Silence for this as mid one. Gonna get stunned up, but I think Escape are in full retreat mode as mid one jumps forward.
No Yaptors are gonna be missed. Not a chance. The Shuriken bounces in from 3-4-3. 6-7. The score may look relatively even, but it's anything but in this elimination match between Fnatic and Escape. Fnatic rapidly running away with it.
This is pretty massive for them because the Global Silence is down. They know that Escape aren't that strong. They are at Serpent Wards available too. I think Fnatic just back off. They immediately go to the Roshan when it spawns, do that, and just allow Mushi to continue to push out all the lanes for yourself and decide to start thinking about the high ground.
Yeah, that's pretty smart, like, a very disciplined play, right, from Fnatic. They could have just gone and tried, oh, let's take that tier 2, but if you get into a fight around that tier 2, you blow Serpent Wards, you blow Ravage, and it doesn't go really well for you, you may end up losing control of Roshan. So much better that they backed out, kept those cooldowns of theirs, and will be able to go for Roche pretty easily. I can't really see how Escape Gaming are going to be able to contest if Templar Assassin is in the Roshan pit with Serpent Wards and the rest of the team is sitting just outside.
At some point, though, you have to take a fight against this lineup. I'm not even 100% sure that Escape can in the late game, just because they're just not getting a lot of farm progression on their heroes.
Once again, Ohio setting himself up in that mid lane, knowing that with the mech and the Ravage ready to go, unlikely to be ganked, push out that lane and still be within walking distance of the Roshan pit. So this is going to be the big moment for Escape Gaming. Can they get the right initiation, earn the fortune of this game?
They're going to get spotted, though, by this Templar Assassin ward.
Already
now, they're going to make their move in.
Ace Rune, Ohio, daring anybody to go on him. Looks like Roshan is going to go down before anything happens.
They've got to get out now.
And now the initiation actually going to be coming out from Fnatic. They try and leave with the lance onto the Lifestealer. He just rages it off. And the rest of Escape Gaming will escape, but comes at a serious cost. Roshan and number 2 Aegis in the hand of Fnatic. Like the rest of these tier 2 towers be forfeited at this rate.
Yeah, Fnatic just decided to go mid. It's going to be hard for Escape to hold, and I do like that Escape went for that movement, but unfortunately for them it was too late and probably would have gone poorly for them anyways. They had no idea how low that Roshan was going to be. As soon as mid 1 picks up that Aegis, you can't really jump blind into the pit because the Shadow Shaman's waiting there. They'd have to do some kind of tactical move where they pop the global as the Axe blinks in, so he prevents the Shadow Shaman shackles.
They've been pinging out Mushi a lot. They think they have an opportunity to find initiation. They do. Ohio, though, immediately cracks himself off one of the slows. Now he has to deal with another one as the open wounds goes down on him. It's coming close, and they get the Culling Blade. They take him out before Ravage goes down. Shackles onto Kenzu, but with the Silence going down, not enough space for him to get out. Mid-watch is hit too damn hard. Shinra, he's going to be the next beating away. 2 down from Escape. Yes, they got the Tidehunter. They found that initiation, but you saw they were pinging on Mushi, and Mushi was already making his way through the Dire jungle and wasn't too far away, was able to join in the last half of that team fight.
This is one of the worst situations for Escape, just because now Fnatic are already beating on their doorstep. They've got the Shadow Shaman wards up in just 5 seconds. They still have Ravage available, and no Global Silence available for Escape. They didn't even pop the Aegis on the mid 1, and now the wards are going to go down. And this is now the true test of Escape, whether or not that they can hold this high ground.
They couldn't get it at the Roshan pit,
Radiant's
and
middle
now
tower
it's do or
has
die
fallen.
for Escape Gaming here inside their base. Tier 3 tower already down, Circuit Ward's getting some chip damage onto the melee racks as well. A rage being used by Era, this may leave him exposed. Fnatic come forward, jump in from Kezu, stuns up mid one, but he's still got both that Aegis as well as that Refraction ready to protect him. Mid one will be able to finish off that melee rack. No initiation coming out in time from Escape Gaming. In fact, they even get the call, but they are way too scared to actually jump on mid one, knowing that at a moment's notice, Ohio could get the Force Staff and Ravage, turning the whole entire fight into Fnatic's favor. So Fnatic, after taking that melee racks, won't risk it any further. Backing out for a moment's notice and reevaluating. Looks like they're going to go for the tier 2 at top lane.
I think they know that this Aegis is going to last for long enough that they don't have to make that kind of play. It's only a range rack, so there's no reason to give Escape any sort of free initiation. Ohio still has that Ravage available to him. Better to try to refresh this Master Serpent board before you try to make another play. And Escape, no matter what, they were going to lose that Rax, but they didn't lose heroes on top of it. Now they're going to make an aggressive move. They're going to get split out by this ward, though.
And it's just turned daytime. Even worse for YapzOr as his Night Stalker is just a bit under farms, and he could use every little help he could get, nighttime included.
This is so huge.
Round 2. Oh, nice blink out from mid one, just ahead of the call. The animation a bit too long. Now Kezu finds his initiation with his arrow locked inside, but they still can't finish him off. The Void comes in just in time. Thought the Templar Assassin was going to be able to make the escape.
That's round 1.
Comes back, second life, and will be able to blink himself away. Not daring to step a foot outside of their base.
Jay has an Arcane Rune, though, and he's got the Master Serpent Ward, so you desperately want to drop these if you still have the time on it. Fnatic, they no longer have the Aegis. They've got to be somewhat careful. It's still on cooldown for them as well. Ravage is available, though. Escape can't afford to give up the second set of racks. Wards have been dropped.
Who can challenge mid one? He's got a BKB, full 10-second duration. They either have to kite him excellently, or they have to make the initiation on him and pop him immediately, and that just seems unlikely. The mech is ready to go in 15 seconds. They make the jump now, but immediately a Hex goes out. Kezu, oh, they managed to get the call now, and the mid one desperately trying to pop him, but the BKB goes out, and now the fight turns with the Ravage, holding on to 2. YapzOr going to be slowed down by Mushi, as he's just going one by one through the supports in the background, while the cores are being dealt with by mid one. Double kill for DJ, and a second lane of Rags will go to Fnatic.
Mid one right now is still unstoppable with that BKB available. Escape, because of their lineup, so many melee heroes on their side. They've got to just clump up around that Ravage. And it was even daytime, and now they're going to go for the Mega Creeps. Trying to end all hope for Escape.
There it is. They call it Escape Gaming going out with a whimper, not a bang. 7-13, 26 minutes in. Fnatic putting on one hell of a clinic here against Escape Gaming. That seemed at no point in time, excluding that, again, that one fight between the tier 1 and the tier 2 in the top lane, everything seemed to go Fnatic's way.
Yeah, Fnatic were surgical. That first Serpent